Today I do not want to share with you, as usual, 3 points. I would like to go over the gospel, and I think it's a wonderful gospel, and I want to highlight some points. So it's going to be more than 3, but do not worry, it's going to be very short. Not a homily, but each point I'm saying. So it's going to be as usual. The first thing, I think the most important thing, theme in today's gospel is that if we want to put a title to today's gospel, we can say the disciples of Jesus Christ in the middle of a storm. But it's interesting to see why they are there. I'm going to read the sentence when we can find the answer to that question. Jesus made his disciples get into a boat and precede him to the other side. So they were there because Jesus Christ told them to go there. So they are there because Jesus Christ decides for them to be there. And they are following Jesus' directions. That's very important because that means that when we do God's will and when we do Jesus' will, that means that many times, I'm not saying that all the time, but many times we are going to experience the same thing. We are going to be in the middle of a storm. That's why some people should not say, why I am experiencing this difficult moment. I'm saying we should not say, but we all say that, even if we should not, okay? Do not get me wrong. Why, if I am trying to do the best I can, I'm trying to be a good Catholic, going to church, praying the rosary every day, not only once, but 3 times or 4 times. I'm doing the best to be a good person with the others. I mean, all of that. And why I am in this problem, why I am experiencing this. It's because Jesus wants you to be there. I know that it sounds a little bit difficult to believe and to understand, but this is what the gospel says. So Jesus Christ in today's gospel wants his disciples to be in that situation. So the storm is the different events in the life of every single Christian that is difficult. And in the events that we are going to experience wonderful things. So now let us move a little bit further and see what they are experiencing. Actually, St. Peter, what he is experiencing. Now, that storm is in a specific time, or something happening in a specific time, during the 4th watch of the night. This is between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m., so it's still dark. So you cannot see much at that time. So this is the storm, because Jesus Christ says, go ahead there. And what happens? They are terrified. They are terrified because there's one thing that happens. The first thing, Jesus Christ, at the beginning of the storm, Jesus Christ is in the mountain praying like he doesn't care about what is going on in the life of those disciples, of his disciples. And this is one of the things that we may experience when we are in those kind of events. That's one of the first things that we may experience, that Jesus Christ, that God is not with me. This is something that happens a lot, because in that moment, in those moments, it is impossible sometimes to encounter Jesus Christ. We are in the middle of that storm, that event, and we cannot see anything clear. It's night, it's at night. Everything happens too fast. We are terrified, and we think that everything is going to end. So Jesus Christ is not there, so we can feel that. There is another option that we may think that instead of seeing Jesus Christ, we see a ghost. So we do not recognize Jesus Christ. So maybe sometimes He is just there, and we cannot recognize his presence. We may need somebody who can tell us, actually, maybe in that event, this or this that is happening to you, maybe is God's intervention, because we, by ourselves, may not be able to recognize God's intervention in those moments. It's difficult. So we do not see clearly, and Jesus Christ doesn't appear in a very clear way. That's the second option. And the third option is what happens at the end in today's gospel, is that we see clearly Jesus Christ walking on the waters, so performing a miracle and revealing himself to each one of us. He says to Peter, "It is I, do not be afraid." That's the third option. That Jesus Christ says that to us, and we understand his voice in a very clear way, and that we understand and recognize his presence in a very clear way. Now let us pass to the other point. Wonderful too, St. Peter. What St. Peter is telling to each one of us, actually St. Peter shows who we are. What St. Peter does in today's gospel is what we are. Or who St. Peter is in today's gospel is who we Christians are. Two things happen in St. Peter in today's gospel. The first one, Lord, he's asking Jesus Christ, "If it is you, command me to come to you on the water." Jesus Christ says to him, "Come." Peter got out of the boat and began to walk on the water toward Jesus. Beautiful. What does it mean? That we cannot, believers, Christians, can do anything on our own. St. Peter was able to do the same thing that Jesus Christ was doing because Jesus Christ gave him the power to do it. He was empowered by Jesus Christ. Wonderful, beautiful. We all can have that same thing in our life. We can be empowered by Jesus Christ. The Christian is somebody who can be empowered by Jesus Christ to do the same thing, to perform the same miracles that Jesus Christ performs in the gospel. That's why when somebody says, I think I cannot do that, or I cannot do this, and I'm talking about something in the church, I think I'm not good enough to do it. My feeling is that I do not have that knowledge, or I do not have that gift to do this specific task. When somebody says that, it's great, because he or she is right. But God can do it. Jesus Christ can do it, and can empower us to do wonderful things. So the only thing is to open up our hearts and to allow God, Jesus Christ, to do it and to empower us. But the second thing that happens in St. Peter, in today's gospel, is that he doubts. I'm going to read the sentence because it's wonderful, beautiful, but describes exactly what can happen to us too. But when he, St. Peter, saw how strong the wind was, he became frightened and began to sink. That happens to us too. For a moment, we may be people of great faith, but when the anxieties of our lives, when the storms, when we lost sight of Jesus Christ and we start focusing our eyes on the storm, what is going on around us, and how that is going fast, and we are frightened by that, we start sinking. That happens to us too. That happens to me too. That's what I'm saying to us, because I don't think we are so different. All Christians, we all have the same experience. So we have to be careful, because in that moment, we have to do what St. Peter does in today's gospel. It's simple, very simple, but we cannot forget that. Lord, save me. So a very simple prayer, to pray to God, to pray to Jesus Christ, asking him to take us, to save us. And And what happened? Jesus Christ stretched out his hand and caught Peter. Great. Beautiful. So we have to do that. And at the end comes the recognition of Jesus Christ and the worshiping of Jesus Christ. So this is what the Christian has to do, to recognize Jesus Christ and to worship him, get him homage. Truly, you are the Son of God. A recognition that he is our Lord and that he is the honor of our entire life. And I want to finish at the end. I want to finish with the beginning of today's gospel. There is something that I didn't say that I think is wonderful. I'm going to read the sentence. After he had fed the people, Jesus made the disciples get into a boat and precede him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. In a little while, at the end of the Mass, Deacon Joe is going to dismiss each one of us. How are you going to say? The Mass is ended. Go in peace.
Glorify the Lord by your life.
Okay, whatever it is, he's going to dismiss us. He decides whatever he wants.
Go in peace, glorifying the Lord by your life.
He is dismissing us. Jesus is dismissing us. Now we are going into the world, and we are going to maybe encounter those storms. So we are invited to keep this gospel, apply that to us, this gospel to us, and try to encounter Jesus Christ in the middle of that storm. Because remember, he wants each one of us there, because he wants to show his presence to each one of us. Please stand.